Project Time Gate. A disturbing story in the March 2005. One issue of Pravda suggests that the U.S. government is working on the discovery of a mysterious point over the South Pole that may be a passageway backward in time. According to the article, some American and British scientists working in Antarctica on January 27, 1995, noticed a spinning gray fog in the sky over the pole. U.S. physicist Mary Ann McLean said at first they believed it to be some kind of sandstorm. But after a while they noticed that the fog did not change its form and did not move, so they decided to investigate. They sent up a weather balloon, at the end of a rope, with some equipment attached. To their surprise, the balloon immediately disappeared after entering the fog, although the rope hung there, as if still attached. After a few minutes the team pulled on the rope and the balloon reappeared. When they brought it back to the ground, they were surprised to find that a chronometer on the balloon displayed the date as January 27, 1965, exactly 30 years earlier. The team repeated the experiment several times, and each time the chronometer's date changed to the earlier time. The phenomenon was reported to the White House under the name Time Gate. According to the story, the CIA and FBI are fighting to gain control over this project, which seems to be a link to a tunnel that permits penetration into the past. Experiments have advanced to the point of actually sending people through the rift. Their safe return is an unknown. Of course, the Russians are watching all of this with great interest. The story talked about various Russian experiments with time machines and theories about the possibility of slowing or speeding up time. Russian author Gennady Belomuev published an article in which he described experiments led by Vadim Chernobrov, the inventor of a time machine, in 1987. Chernobrov claims his machine can slow or speed up the course of time by tinkering with the Earth's magnetic field. His biggest success was the slowing of time for 1.5 seconds. While all of this sounds a bit like one of Grimm's fairy tales, I have to give the report some level of credibility. I know that time does not seem to exist in the spiritual or astral realm outside of our three-dimensional existence on this planet. Time appears to be an invention of third-dimensional reality to allow humans to keep their bearings as we proceed through the brief lifespans allowed in these bodies. One of the problems remote viewers have is acquiring timelines for future or past events that they examine. For example, a viewer might foresee a major catastrophe like a volcanic eruption, airplane crash, or hurricane, but pinning down an exact moment when it will occur is extremely difficult. To deal with this problem, Aaron C. Donahue spent years developing an advanced form of viewing, which he calls the acquisition and practical application of non-historical data. Even with his new technique, Donahue has trouble pinning down exact dates of future events. For example, he said he foresees some kind of explosive thermal event occurring at Yellowstone National Park sometime this year and thinks it might happen this spring. But he can't give us an exact date. As an old science fiction buff, I have had years to think and read about the consequences of human travel through time. Traveling forward in time would be strange enough. And we might be able to do something like that without upsetting the balance of things. But if we could go backwards, even under the strictest of conditions, it is possible that by a single act, we could alter the entire course of history. Simply carrying an evolved bacteria or a genetically modified virus on our shirt sleeve into the distant past might launch a worldwide epidemic that would kill millions of people, some of whom would be the thinkers, inventors, and composers of some of the great human offerings of that period. That the CIA and/or FBI are tinkering with time travel is most distressing. The covert operations they perform could take on a whole new meaning if they are ever given the opportunity to travel into the past and make a few adjustments in world events. What is troubling is that we have no way of knowing that they aren't already doing it. For those of us in the daily stream of world events, a shift in history might wipe out thousands of people and change entire governments. But for us, the change would go into our memory of events as they happened during our lives. That good friend we went bowling with last night might disappear before the next morning and we would not notice his loss. By the time we awake, the person never existed. In the past I have thought how time travel, if available to a few of us, would be a most useful tool for saving the looming fate of our dying world. But then what would any of us do, short of going to war with the angelic realm, to make a significant difference? Putting this tool in the hands of an angelic Christian-driven team of government agents can only mean worse trouble than we have already have. Come to think of it, that kind of time tinkering might explain how things have become as quickly out of whack as they currently are. Time has been one of the most complicated and less studied scientific issues since ancient times. 8 years ago, American and British scientists who conducted investigations in Antarctica made a sensational discovery. U.S. physicist Mary Ann McLean told of how researchers noticed some spinning gray fog in the sky over the pole on January 27, which they believed to be just an ordinary sandstorm. However, the gray fog did not change in form and did not move in the course of time. The researchers decided to investigate the phenomenon and launched a weather balloon with equipment capable of registering the wind speed, the temperature, and the air moisture. But the weather balloon soared upwards and immediately disappeared. In a little while, the researchers brought the weather balloon back to the ground with the help of a rope attached to it earlier. They were extremely surprised to see that a chronometer set in the weather balloon displayed the date of January 27, 1965, the same day 30 years ago. The experiment was repeated several times after the researchers found out the equipment was in good repair. But each time the watch was back it displayed the past time. The phenomenon was called the time gate and was reported to the White House. Today investigation of the unusual phenomenon is underway. It is supposed that the whirl crater above the South Pole is a tunnel allowing to penetrate into other times. What is more, programs on launching people to other times have been started. The CIA and the FBI are fighting for gaining control over the project that may change the course of history. It is not clear when the U.S. federal authorities will approve the experiment. Experiments on the change of the direction and rate of time motion. What do you think? Did they succeed? Stay tuned, we think we know more. Stay paranoid, my friends.